Morning, guys. Good morning, lottie dottie, everybody. This is Dan. I will be your host today. Howdy doody, folks. There's a lot on the menu today, so I don't know, halfway through earnings, it feels like. Maybe further, a little further than halfway for the bulk of the hot stocks reporting. I'm going to cover some plays I think what are going to be good this week, and then talk about this morning and what's on the gap scanner. Briefly, I'm going to look at ISEE. It's a medium float stock. It's got almost 100% gap, and it has over 3.5 million shares traded this morning. So very active. We've got a bit of an ascending pattern on this currently. All right, we got kind of a big flag ascending, and we want to see where is resistance. Got a huge gap way up here. This thing is off the charts, so there isn't any technical resistance at all, which could make it a fun one to trade. Makes it just a pure momentum trader. So we'll look at our momentum moving averages throughout the day. We had a psychological level at $2. Maybe pull back. Maybe there's a buy somewhere along the 9 EMA. Right now, it's not worth chasing, to say the least, but there's plenty of other good stocks in great positions for today. So one of my swing trades, just because I'm already in this, is Facebook. I'm looking for Facebook to have a good continuation day. I'm looking for it to trade close to 190 this week, and hopefully it actually stays below 190 for me. Otherwise, I might trade the short call that I sold out of the money as we get closer to earnings. So I've got a bull call spread open on this one, and it's just pulling back to its little angular support after hitting some pre-market highs. So we could see a nice ascending pattern kind of developing here. It really does have the potential to get close to 195. If it does, that's fine. As long as it stays somewhere between 190 and 195, I'll be pretty happy with that trade. Let's take a look at SPY. So futures hitting all-time highs, SPY hitting all-time highs going into the open. We got a nice little flag. This is we had news come out over the weekend. We got one of the ISIS baddies. We had Microsoft with some good news. We got lots of earnings coming in that look like they're pretty good this morning. Spotify, AT&T reported. You got Lowe's, and I'm trying to think of any other big one. I didn't really look at Monday's earnings too much over the weekend because I didn't like any of the names. But I will say that I might play Spotify today up to the 50% retracement. That's 135.98. If we get a good setup here, it's probably going to move really quick to this level and then consolidate coil or roll over. But I've got option contracts loaded on that one. We'll have to see if that one ever gets the kind of volume that we would like to see, because I actually have not traded spot maybe one other time ever. I'm not sure what kind of volume this will get. But anyway, so we'll watch that one. Apple. Got to talk about Apple. So this is a big one. I actually closed my trade on Apple. I wish I had not. I had calls, and this one hit a pre-market high. It's holding up really close to this angular resistance. This thing has been riding the top of a massive hourly wedge, this hourly channel. It has, if you go back and look and try to connect some of your high price action where it consolidated and continued up, we are, let's extend to the right. We are getting kind of close to that level. That's, 250, 251. I could see us potentially getting up there pre-earnings. I didn't have that target earlier, but now that this thing's just continued beyond my expectations, with Apple, and it just keeps breaking angular supports like they don't exist. Um, and of course, when they do, it really moves up and continues. So they do exist. They're important to pay attention to, at least in my eyes. And so we've got, I don't know. We'll look for this to be a potential trade. There's other trades that I'm looking at a little bit closer. Microsoft is one. This had news over the weekend. They beat out Apple on a contract on Friday, and you got a huge gap up, pull back to the 9. This I have an angular resistance a little bit further out on on the time scale. And, you don't know when it's going to hit this line or if, but I'm just looking at, big time angular resistance. It's up here. So if earnings is good, this thing continues up, we could be trading in this new range and see higher prices for Microsoft, which has just been a beast. Let's see, there actually is a line here too, which is interesting. So we fell out of that, came back, retraced, pulled. So we might back test this line. That's probably going to be a better area to go long. So I think I might look at Microsoft closer to the end of the day. All right, one of our members requested to take a look at Square. Good morning, Insen. Let's see if this will load. There we go. So I've traded Square a little bit this year, and we've got some Fibonacci consolidation up on this particular fib of mine that I'm paying attention to. And it looks like this thing is consolidated pretty nice. You could potentially see another move up today. Markets are bullish. This thing's very flighty, so when it, right now it's in a little uptrend, but when it finishes it, it really does tend to pull back pretty hard. When these little uptrends end, you could see a couple of the days. Let's see, this particular one, we pulled back. That was a pretty nasty drop last week or the week before last week. I remember this. It failed kind of a cuff and handle, and then so we do kind of have an inverse head and shoulder sort of setting up here too. I would watch these levels 60, 64.50 really closely on Square. It's not on my eyes to trade, but it's yeah, and the volume's not that good. I don't see the algos or the computers really hitting this one really hard either. Compared to a lot of other stocks, I feel like there's more exciting and liquid stocks. Okay, you want me to take a look at UNH? Yeah, we talked about UNH last week a little bit. Healthcare. This one is consolidated pretty nice on the hourly chart, and you got some bullish divergence kind of building on our indicators. And looking at this, any type of new push could put us up near that 260. So this is the long-term angular resistance. I draw this on a daily. Yeah, I drew this on a daily chart. So you've got this level. We're consolidating at the 200 nicely and the 9. It's pretty overextended, but as long as it continues to stay above this 9 EMA and 200, I could see us pushing up into that higher level here, right? We could hit up even up to 260. So Target already had earnings, right? Or no, when is earnings on Target? Right? Yeah, it had earnings. It's got earnings coming up in November, right? I'm looking back. So this one's been selling off pretty hard. And, maybe some bounce. This dropped below this major trend line here. So let's take a look at where did I get that trend line from? I gotta go back and look. Oh, we had a kind of a double top here, right? And then we hit this. We oscillated around this, stayed up. Now we're back below. There's some, it seems like it could be slowing down in terms of the sell-off. There's still some bearishness to it that I would be cautious. But you could get a short squeeze on Target if markets are good. Yeah, Amazon, right? So, Amazon missing. This was awesome on Friday. I was able to trade options. If you guys follow our Instagram, you saw some of the info I put up about that. And this was such an epic V on Friday, and it's consolidated nicely, and it looks like it wants to go back up to 1800, which is like earnings never happened. And then we'll see if the trend continues up or continues down. But Amazon should be a fun one. This is a very important one between Microsoft earnings coming up, Apple, Amazon. It's important for the big boys to beat and make up for the miss on Amazon. It was the first miss in 2 years. But again, bulls didn't care. All-time highs, and it's just you got to go with the trend. So what else did I say I would talk about? I think I talked about everything I said I was going to on morning, guys. So big for me is going to be watching. I will watch ISEE because you never know with these ones with no resistance. They could be a lot of fun, but we're so far off our momentum moving averages that I'm going to have to trade this one conservatively unless we get a really good pullback and a good pop in volume. Microsoft, I think I'd like to trade later in the day, towards the end. Spotify is the one I think I might really watch at the open for a speed trade. And just because it had earnings, could maybe look at T, but T had good earnings as well. It's really close to a level that I was looking for a retracement, so I'm not. It looks like most of this move has been pretty much done, and then it just trades sideways for a while. So that might be one that I sell some options on, sell some type of spread, but I don't know if I'll day trade this one. Highly doubt it. So pretty much Microsoft, Facebook, Apple. But at the bell, I'm probably going to look at spot. But of course, you guys know I will watch the small caps too on the scanners to see if anything pops up on there. So, all right, so I'm going to end the YouTube stream now, guys. If you guys want to pop into our trade room, we got a 2-week trial. You can come in and check us out for free.